And we're going to draw this beautiful cat. Look at all this detail. We're going to zoom in here. Look at all this detail. Look at the detail in the eyes and everything else. So we're going to draw this cat together, and I'm going to take you step by step and show you all the tools necessary to make this. We're going to do this on suede mat board, which is this beautiful surface that allows you to make very soft fur and high details. And we're going to use pastels and colored pencils as well. So let's get started. So we're doing this cat, and we have a lot of challenges here. We have three main areas that are going to be the most problematic. Well, they're going to be the main areas. They're going to be, the first one is this, which is super dark with light hairs. The second one is this, which is spaced out dark. And then this, which is just a clumps of hair, right? So you have this yellowish background and clumps of white hair. Same thing here, yellowish background and clumps of white hair. So our solution to this is over here, and we prototyped out a few things. The first thing I prototyped out was pastels, a light black pastel with colored pencil. Now this is suede mat board, by the way. We're using this instead of velour because it's going to give us the best result. It's going to look soft and furry, and it's a tighter weave than velour. So we get to make more details. So here is pastel black with spaced out black pastel and white colored pencil. Now that looks like the second clump of hair that we saw, so that's going to work for clump 2, all right? The other one, where it's more black and half white hairs, that's colored pencil. So colored pencil black and colored pencil white. That's going to give us that mixture of 50% black, 50% white. If we want like 70% white, 30% black, pastel is going to give us that as like a black or a dark gray pastel. Now over here we have pure black pastel that we just slathered on with a stick, and then we went back with colored pencil, and you can see that it doesn't really show up as well. It's mostly black. So this looks worse than this. And this is pastel black pressed hard. This is pressed soft. So this looks terrible. I'm glad I didn't do this. This looks much better. For the big areas where it's mostly black, this is our key. And again, that is a pastel black. We're using Carbothello as our pastel black, and then we're using our standard paper glass metal Stabilo 8052 as our colored pencil. But we're going to switch to Prismacolor, by the way. So here's our three areas. We got light gray, black pressed easy pastel with colored pencil. We got hard pressed black pastel with colored pencil. Then we got colored pencil and colored pencil. So here's our three areas. I think we're good to go for making this cat. So we're starting on the eye and using the colors that I described before. So here are your colors. These are various colors here. We're going with this, starting with this sort of, luckily the picture's small, so we're starting with this. This is going to be So we're starting on the eye. We're going to first use the Carbothello pencil as described before, the 585. This is the dull green. Well, luckily, the reference photo has a lot of detail, so we can pull out quite a bit of that detail. Here we want to be careful and not to go too dark. And like I mentioned before, fortunately, we're using pastels, so we can rub this into the paper. and then put like 5 layers of pastel, followed by 5 layers of colored pencil. So if you want detail, this is your combination to use, because wax-based color pencils will wax bloom on the paper. However, the pastels will give you a few extras. So you notice I'm not just filling it in. I'm going on the outside and just kind of going in the direction of the veins. Now there's a white area down there. Okay. Then we're going to come into here. Like I mentioned before, we're not going to completely fill in this pupil. So you're going to come in the top portion, and then the bottom portion. The top portion is going to be sort of gray. Like that. And the reason is because we're going to come in here with a white. Look how bright that white is. If you do that with colored pencil, it would not look like that at all. Now we're going to press lighter at the bottom because it sort of fades out like that. There we go. All right. And within that, we obviously have veins, but it's much lighter. We're barely, literally barely going to touch. Like that. Now for the inside, like I mentioned before, come in with this vein. And this is a little darker, so I'm going to press a little more. Make it uneven, don't just slather it on. There we go. Now here, like that. That's perfect. Come back here with that dark gray since we kind of ruined it. Okay, come back in with the black as well. Like that. That looks really good. Now, as per before, we have this brighter yellow on the outside. And this is Carbothello 105. Just kind of come in here like that. All right, and then we want to get that super bright yellow. Just a little touch. Like that. And we come back with a green and sort of calm that yellow down a bit. Because it really sort of took over. Like that. All right, now we're going to come in with a colored pencil. And accentuate this black. like that. That looks good. And there's also veins, not veins, shadows of the all right, now we have this black. Over here, but instead of just using black, I'm going to use that same color that we had before. Like that. And then use the black. Up top, we have like this shade, basically. We're going to use straight colored pencil. But I want like a darker green instead of that. Let me dig through my pencils. I want like a darker green. I don't want to just go raw black in that particular spot. So let's look for a darker green. We're switching to colored pencil at this point. I got quite a few apparently. So we're using Very Ocean, which is a super dark green. So we've graduated from the pastels into the colored pencils. And now we're going to get this Very Ocean and sort of come in through here with the veins that are coming out. Not veins, sorry, the eyelash shadows that are on top here. Like that. And again, we're not going to do black just yet. We're going to go over it with this darker green. This is called Very Ocean. So you don't want black quite yet because it's not black. It's a darker green. This darker green above here as we sort of roll in to this side. And then that creeps up here, and now we can come back with the black colored pencil. We give it a little more effort in here. Get a little bit of that action coming down in through here. There we go, check it out. Like that. I don't like that. It needs to be a little more prominent. There we go. All right, then we're going to come in again with that. The next color of green. So we have this darker green. Then we have a not so dark green. We're going to use a not so dark green now on the colored pencil. Again, we've graduated to colored pencil from the pastel. So look at the depth that we have as we sort of come in here. That would not be possible. Well, I mean, it would, but that would take a lot of work with color, with just colored pencil by himself. But you look at that base coat that we got in with the pastels. Now we're coming in with this colored pencil. That looks so good. It looks so good. All right, now we come in with a yellow colored pencil. And let me pick my yellow, so many to choose from. I do want like a dimmer yellow, like not quite in your face yellow, like bright sunlight yellow. So we'll try this one here. This is called Jasmine, because I think we sort of killed that yellow as we came in here. Now we get this yellow. And just barely put it in. I mean, it's not everywhere. Like that. That looks really good. I mean, come on, that looks really good. Now we're going to get a white colored pencil and just sort of glaze it. Glaze the white area. Does it make sense? Just sort of glaze it. Just glaze over. Get that nice, soft, fuzzy look on there, and just sort of come in across that black. Just glaze it. Like that. That looks good. And then we'll get the not quite. Get the jasmine lightly, and I mean lightly, sort of come out like that. Like that. There we go. And the black sort of glaze the area in between here. Here we go. Alright, there's your eye, and that looks exactly like the reference. So, hope you have enjoyed making a hyper-realistic eye with both pastels and colored pencil. One, I don't think would be complete without the other. So on the top and the bottom of the eye, we have a color that literally does not exist. So what we did is we came in with sable. It's like a dull yellow. And then on top of it, we came in with basically dark brown, which is a desaturated brown. So we went over here with sable really lightly, and then we came over it with dark brown really lightly. And then we came in with our black colored pencil and made little dashes, Now down here, we made little dashes with our white Prismacolor colored pencil. So this is just basic white and sharpened to like a dangerous point. We came in here, we made little things like this because up top it's darker, obviously, and at the bottom it's lighter because the light is hitting it. So we have not started the fur quite yet, but we do have a good replication of that color. So now we're going to come over here. Now this area is black, but I'm going to come in with brown first, really lightly touching it, because I want that depth to it. I don't want just black, for example, okay? And then I'm going to come in with black and sort of make it, not fill it all the way in, but sort of just made it a little squiggly lines here and there, and then filled in over here because it's darker. It's darker over here, and then it's lighter as we sort of come over here. So we're going to reflect that here, then we have to merge it into this color we just made up that doesn't exist. So yeah, so we have nice darks up here kind of thing. Then as we scroll over, we got like this black or darker area here. We just sort of shade it. And that way we have a pretty realistic looking thing here. We got hairs coming down through here. All right, so I think we're done with the eye and the immediate surrounding area. Now we have to sort of deal with the hairs on the side. The first hair is going to be, pardon the shake, is going to be below here. Now you remember we already prototyped this out. So we have sort of a map of where we want to go on this. So the hair down here is a darker yellow followed by white, basically. So we're going to pick up our Carbothello 690 pencil. Now this is a darker yellow, as you can see, and this is just going to be for a background. So never fear, the background is here. We're going to come over this with white. So we're going to sort of prototype it here. We need to prototype it on our spare sheet of paper, but I already sort of did. And again, the pastel is going to sink into the paper and leave us unlimited room up top for our colored pencil. So some people will put the whole thing with colored pencil, and I don't do that. I do not do that. But now I want to come in with colored pencil. I want to do two. The first one I want to do is sable, and that's because it's sort of a lighter, it's sort of a desaturated yellow. It's not like bright in your face yellow. And so I can sort of come in here with that and make these little hairs like this. And again, this is, you look at the picture and it's white. but I don't want white on gray. It looks dull. Look at this yellow, it's yellowish in the picture. So again, I'm barely pressing. I'm barely, and I mean barely pressing here. So now we have that light yellow sort of coming through here, the colored pencil, and we did that. Well, we have a couple here we're going to put over here. All right, so now I like that. So now we have our sable. Now we're going to come in with our Stabilo white colored pencil, and that is because this thing is insane. Look at that. And we make sure that we're going the right direction, obviously. But we also make sure that the lines are squiggly. What you don't want is a straight line when, if you look at the picture, none of these hairs are a straight line. Now we do want to sort of sneak up into this new color that we created, but not everywhere, obviously. All right, we get like that. So now we have that yellow, but it has the white on top. This is pure magic right here, my friends. Make sure we got the squiggly lines. And that you can see that yellow peeking through, just peeking through a little bit. And then we have the nice squiggly lines in the direction of the fur. That looks great. That looks great. So that pastel, man, that pastel lets you just cheat. You get so much more on here after you touch with that pastel. It'll sneaking up in here like that. All right. That looks literally real. That looks literally like the picture. So we're missing a little bit of that, that yellow over here. And we have this thick coating of yellow right here. I want to make sure and represent that. As well as we have a little bit of that yellow sort of sneaking up into here, like right there. There we go. Get that pastel. Get that pastel up there. So that looks legit. That looks exactly like the picture. So we're going good, and we're pressing really light. No stress on the hands, because I know, like, most people like work on a computer all day, You come home, your hands are tired, man. So we don't want to hurt your hands. We want to get nice and easy on your hands. All right. So that is looking good for the bottom portion. Now remember my prototype. Let me grab it. My prototype had different types of hairs, and focus. So we had the pastel black, we had the CP black, and we had the sort of the pastel thick black. So here was what I did. I went in with pastel pencils, and I made this, and then I rubbed it in with my finger. So that way, once you rub that in, then you got plenty of room to come back. Isn't that exciting? Come back with the good old-fashioned colored pencils. And we have a variety of colored pencils to choose from here. Trying to sort of figure out which one is going to look the best. Let's try them all. So this is like the saturated yellow. That's too dark. I think the other yellow is going to be too dark as well. So what we could do is come in with a light sort of yellowish gray, I think is what we need. So I think that sand, the color, is that sand, sable? I've been calling it sable, it's sand, sorry. I think sand may do the trick. Let's go up here. Let's make these lines. That's not going to do the trick at all. So let's just come in with the white. Let's come in with the white and try that. We could do an underlayer, I guess, of, again, like we did before. We just come in with this. This is a pastel pencil. A little bit of the yellow, not a lot. A little bit of the yellow. we're sort of prototyping here. We don't want to know what we're doing. Kind of like that. There we go. That nice yellow feel. It's not too saturated. We'll come up here. There we go. All right. Again, that's pastel. Leaves us plenty of room. Plenty of room for the white coming in here. See, this is Prismacolor white. And it sucks. Why does that suck? Is that a blender? Oh, no, this is Artworks white. What is Artworks? I need to throw that in the trash. All right. Let's come back with a better white. Now, look at that. There's a real white right there. Come in just like this with these little hairs. You don't want to like just kill yourself with these hairs. And you want razor sharp pencil for this. So we're coming in here, out of there. It's not razor sharp enough. All right, now that is razor sharp. A little too close to the camera, sorry. Got to look over the camera. All right, coming through here. A couple of squiggly lines. Alright, that needs to be darker. Come in with the pastel pencil and just darken it up a little bit. There we go. All right, now come back in. So that yellow background gives it that nice flare that we kind of need here. So we need to get more background, but I mean overall this is looking pretty good. So we just need to add more background. So there's you sort of a template as far as how to get that look. I think that looks pretty good. I think the biggest problem we have is we don't really have a yellow that looks like that. I mean, we could use like French gray or something. Jesus, that's falling apart. We could use French gray in some of the areas, but I mean, overall, it's kind of hard to get that deep yellow look that we need. I don't really see any pencils that are going to give it to us. So, let's see, what else we got? We got a bunch of different French grays. Again, we don't have the yellow that we need. So the yellow in the picture does not exist. So we'll just sort of simulate it with the yellow background and then put white on top of it and maybe mix that with a couple of other colors. So like I mentioned before on the prototype, I came back with basically a black colored pencil, and I made it darker in these areas where it's darker around the eyes and whatnot, and then I made it lighter where it's sort of lighter around the eyes, etc. Then I came in with this cream. So this, I tried cream and my Prismacolor. It doesn't really work that well. It doesn't make a good mark. I mean, it'll make a mark, but if you look at the mark from the white, it's much better. So then I came in with just a pastel, you know, and just kind of give it that rich yellow look. And then I'm coming in behind it with this, and then just sort of making the hairs with my Stabilo colored pencil, and then making the hairs with this is giving me this nice rich look for these hairs. So I think this is going to work out well. I don't think I have enough of that dark area. So the dark area is like right here. The dark area is like right there, and then it sort of sneaks up into there, and then it sort of just comes out around there. So we're doing it with the pastel pencil because I mean, you can make more layers on top of that, but if we did that with color pencil, that would be the end. That would be the finale right there. So now we're just coming in, sort of replicating what we see, you know, making this sort of a hair type texture. And then we have hairs that are coming out of this, right? We got like this one that goes up like that. And so we're just replicating those. And then when we come up here, again, we're just sort of getting these colors in here. So then as we come up, so obviously I'm not going to film this whole thing, but you get the idea. I think that we're looking pretty good for the different hairs that are coming up out of the cat and whatnot. So when the really fruffy hairs coming out of this, we can use different colors, right? So this is beige from Prismacolor, if it'll focus. We can use a beige coming out here, just sort of make it light, so you see something coming out up there. But you know, it's not exactly the same color, but still you have that nice look up there. And we can come up with the cream as well, sort of get some of these hairs up here where you don't really need it to be super detailed. The super detailed is obviously going to be the white, I mean, mask to the obvious. But if you just need some hairs just sort of in there, you can do that with the cream. So I think that looks all right. And again, as a finale, we're going to come in with a black colored pencil and sort of give it that fine detail between the hairs. You know what I'm saying, like that? Like sometimes we just have little gaps in between the hairs and whatnot, so we'll just do that in some of these areas that need that. Some of the areas are really tight, so it doesn't need it, but some do. So again, we're sort of just poke out this black up here, like right there, etc. I think that's going to look pretty good. Again, hit the cream in the areas where there's a little something, but not detailed hairs. So I think overall that's looking pretty good for that area. Now I'm just basically going to replicate this technique and move on to the other areas, since you really don't need to see every single little line here. But if we sort of come out a bit, that looks legit. Hey, that rhymes. But yeah, that looks legit. I think we're on the right track, and I think that we're going to get there. The eye especially looks good. Anyway, so I'll pause this and come back. All right, I'm watching football, so sorry about the noise. But yeah, I think we're on the right target. We're on the right target. We're on the right track here. So I came back with a colored pencil, and we're sort of just, you know, making the darker areas dark again. So make the dark dark again. And just coming through, looking at the picture, just sort of getting the values where we need them to be. So I mean, there's like a few areas here that are a little darker, etc. And we're just going to come and sort of replicate that across here. So I think we're on track as far as where we want to be, and I think that looks good. We're just using the same techniques that we did before. So now I'm going to come down here and use those techniques down here and get this filled in. Then we'll come back and do the other eye, and I'll come back when this is filled in and we'll start on the eye, and we'll have like a lot of this picture already done because the white area is very blurry. So we're going to make it blurry as well by using a lot of pastels. So a lot of the blurry areas are just going to be very quick pastel type situation.